So all the footage you're about to see was made over a month ago, and then I'll explain after. But here's the footage for that. Well, hello there. It's been a while. How long of a while? It's like I think been a month since I've uploaded. What a surprise! No consistent uploads, right? But today is October the 13th, and it has been all right so far. Actually, um, sort of all right. Um, I went to class today. I'm actually starting to talk to people, which in the terms of college, wow, like the great like allure of it all, right? But I think other than that, I miss UTD. I kind of miss the the university of it. Like being able to kind of stay there and just like live it, kind of. Because I'm not gonna lie, being here at home, while it's amazing in paper, it's also your same downfall because you're in your house. Like like I said, I've only got one class in person, which is my history class, and it meets twice a week. And it's it's just that. Other than that, I spend the rest of my time here, and it gets to a point. But have I been keeping my promises? No. It's been more like soul searching than anything. This last 2 weeks, honestly. The other two, they've just been me messing around with stuff. What I can show is this. I've got an iPod, supposedly for the productivityness, right? I'm right here listening to the Balacho soundtrack, but you can't really tell. But I have a surround sound system. It was for 3 years hooked up the wrong way until I started finally watching videos on that stuff, and I found out that I haven't doing them right. But now I did, and now I'm glad. Yeah. And then I think for last, I do remember saying, "Oh yeah, I'm in my own media server and stuff like that." Um, it's been going great. I've added more stuff to it actually. We got Sailor Moon season 5. I also got Sailor Moon Crystal set 1. Oh my god, no. Now I am proud to announce that I own 4K copies. First one right here is Scott Pilgrim. Worst part is I don't have a what is it? Ultra HD Blu-ray players. So I'm only been using the Blu-ray, and some of these come with a digital code. So that's how I've been watching them. And even then, I don't have a 4K TV. I have a 1080p TV that's been with me since 8th grade. So why buy these? Because I can have a high quality later for my media server. So yeah, so that's like for me, right? This Scott Pilgrim, I watched it. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Ghost in the Shell. Now you can't really proclaim yourself an anime fan, as I have, and more over there probably. While watching, one of the greatest sci-fi movies out there for anime. So it's on 4K. Watched it a little bit. Need to finish it. This will probably get done by the weekend, honestly, because I need to show y'all my movie collection over there. Sometimes you get cute, you sometimes get cool little sleeves and stuff like that for movies. But what I've been kind of missing out on, even on video games, steelbooks. Actually, I've got to put the stores steelbooks. This is a steelbook for Coraline, which looks pretty sweet right here. And there's also the 4K and the Blu-ray. That looks something like this. Alright, and since it is October and it's spooky month, might as well watch it. And then finally, we got Venom, because once again it was on a discount. This one did come with a digital code, thankfully. I can just watch it, but yeah. I've just been kind of delving into what I like and kind of been neglecting my studies a bit. That is gonna change tomorrow. Today's been actually just recording this, having this, so I can be like, no, I am doing something about it, right? Now I've admitted that I haven't been doing it, and now I'm starting to do something towards it, right? Alright, it's 2 o'clock, so it's been about an hour and 45 minutes since the starting started. And guess what? I f***ed it. There's a reason there's no mic or anything. I f***ed it hard. So, I did do stuff. I did do stuff. I didn't double check my recording. So it went from, I thought it was a time lapse to a slow motion. It was an hour and a half of slow motion and my phone filled with storage. You know how big a slow mo file can get? About 70 gigabytes in size. So yeah. So instead of trying to relapse everything again, I'm just gonna explain what I did. Alright, so basically what I got working was the whole file system for this class, right? So I have it in my vault right here. This is the, second semester, or the second year, first semester, right? And then in here I have this folder, which is gonna name all my classes and have a README file to kind of explain to anyone what they're looking at, right? Actually, I should probably make it easier for everyone to read. And then here's for the history class. So one that I ended up changing a lot was actually just making every single chapter a folder, right? And then I have a chapter 0, which is just, the information for the class and the test. And then I made a folder, and actually chapter 6 came out pretty nice. So within chapter 6, there is chapter 6.0, which is the information about the chapter, the content of the chapter, and then like a conclusion chapter, right? Or thingy. So that's how that one's going. And then I have the 6.0.0 study guide. So I can just kind of have it all conveniently right here. And then after that, it's every other chapter, right? So 6.1, the subchapter, and then what's under the chapter, right? 0.1. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? 6.1.2 and up to 6.1.6, which is all we got done yesterday within about 2 hours. Then after that, we had 6.2.1, or 6.2, sorry, which is the Philadelphia Convention begins. And this is what I got. This is what the new note's looking, all right? 6.2.1, Philadelphia. The actual note, like, not even in my words, this is just in, like, my, the note. Like if you're going to show someone the note, it'd be this, right? And then I have my TLDR, which is just for me, right? So it's basically pretty much the same. Benjamin Franklin, May 1787. Franklin was the oldest of the delegates, and most of them were lawyers and slave owners, and only 55 to 75 showed up, right? My TLDR is, so the convention began in May 1787. Benjamin Franklin was the uncle of the group, and most of the delegates showed up were either lawyers, slave owners, or a mix of both. Only about 55 to 75 showed up, and since they were just passing by the chamber, only 30 of them were showing up on the floor on any given day. When the floor opened on May 14th, pretty much no one came Lowell, and James Winston blamed the weather. Alright, it's pretty much the same, but if I had to, like, pick stuff out, I'd be easier from that one, and then I have a reference right here, which this points back to chapter 6, so I can go back and click on it, and then the study guide, and I will just find it right here, 6.2.1, 55 delegates met in Philadelphia in May 1787 to revise the articles over white landowning men. Right? And yeah, that's what we had going. And then, like I said, for test 2, I can just come here to this chapter. Boom. Yeah, so that's how it's looking. And then in terms of the graph, it's looking a little bit like this, right? Here's history, right? And then here's chapter 6 with everything that's inside of chapter 6 right there. The study guide, and then it goes to test. Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks. It's now November the 2nd. So what happened? Well, I happened. Too much grandiose thoughts. I was like, whoa, like, I'll do this, I'll do that, and blah blah blah. This My brain went overhead, and it was like, nah, we can't do anything about it. So I naturally kept thinking, okay, then this Sunday I'll film this and I'll edit it and I'll upload it and be like, it's 2 weeks now, and and then that second week passed, and then this third week passed. Now I'm in the fourth week, I think, or something like that, and I'm now getting to actually recording and explaining what has happened the last about 3 weeks, which is not a lot, but still I need a bit of an explainer actually. Nope, I was lying. I didn't have a test, and I just remember that. No, I had a test for history. I was studying, like you should do. And after that happened, a dear friend of mine actually came down from Chicago and was up in Austin, and he was here on Friday for the F1 races. I didn't know they were happening, but they happened, and I kind of spent the whole day just kind of relaxing. I wasn't gonna film anything. I think I did. I didn't. I don't know. But he came down. We hanged out for a little, like 3 hours. Showed him the great Texas landmarks of Whataburger and HEB. And yeah, that was Friday. And then I forgot what happened Saturday, but Saturday happened. And then Sunday, I was like, oh, let me film. That was the first thought. I was like, let me film, and then let me end that. No. I think I was a little too busy, I think prepping, because I think I kept showing again and again those footage, but this, take a very look close at this screen right here, actually, and I should probably film this on another angle. So that first weekend was mostly just spent on actually doing notes. As you can see here, I have masterfully coded everything. Not masterfully coded, organized everything. Books that I picked up from the library, boom, right there. All the different seasons that I'm going to add on, all that other stuff. But the one that actually came up pretty important was the history one. So if I check here, here's chapter 6, some notes I had, the study guide the teacher put up that I still haven't finished a lot of these. Well, because, I mean, just look at this, or more like, look at these right here, right? We were starting from scratch, from zero, and, it took a long time, and thankfully the good thing about Obsidian is, look at this bar graph right here, of everything. So, here's chapter 6, here's everything you had to learn in chapter 6, alright? And that was in time for, if I can find the thingy, here for test 2, which is chapters 5, 6, 7, which I did decent. I did well. No, I haven't gotten the results back. I think I did well enough, but, only time will tell. But, yeah, that's about as far as I got that first weekend. That's where we left off for that first weekend, right? So, while I was doing all of that, I instinctively went to the second week and be like, okay, well, I'll just keep recording. This is a 2-weeker. I'd be like, okay, well, I wanted to restart doing this because, it's good practice, and then I'll do that second week update. Never came. I don't know what I did on Monday. Who knows? But what I do know is that the day after, about 2 Tuesdays ago, my server was acting up, so I was like, well, maybe I'll reinstall it and see what happens. I think, instinctively spent the next 2 days doing something about it. Yeah, so that's, and some other footage I'll show, but basically, it was like 2 days. I started trying to refix it, everything. I don't think I ended up doing anything about it. Well, I did, but, during that time period. After that, though, I finally got the liquid experience to actually record something, which I'm going to show now, which was a study session of me getting my books organized, because, I mean, I'm have to turn back to the library somehow. So, why not, use them or whatever, and, store the information and everything. I still haven't done too much about them because it's a lot. But afterwards, I also spent time redoing my good notes, not with the Powerpuff Girls, but I did spend some time. That was on Saturday, and then I got the wonderful idea, just the most wonderful idea of actually of finally changing my desktop. Yes, because if I am to become a CAD developer who uses Windows, right? Oh God, yes. Oh my God. Okay, so this was last week. Yeah, so this was last week. So this is why I also took a little longer. But basically, what I did last week, and I'll put the the footage up starting now. Um, oh God. Basically, I decided to change into Linux because that's what the developers use. All this other cool shit about it. I decided to switch, and the thing is that I could. My PC right here has 2 terabytes of storage, and it's 1 terabyte into two 1 terabyte SSDs. There you go. That's how you say it. Right. So realistically, I can dual boot one into Windows and one into Linux. Right. And the reason I wanted to do Linux was well because there's a really cool stuff that you can do, and it's good for developers, but also kind of make my PC into more of a productive PC by having only stuff that I will use for productiveness. Right. Like Obsidian, which as you saw was the notes, and music player that I did. That's the whole other thing, right? But that's what I wanted to do. So I spent Wednesday, pretty much. I spent 8 hours from 12 and midnight to 8 in the morning, downloading, configuring, reconfiguring. I think I did an Arch reinstall twice, using the Arch install script. Right, I did not do that manually. So I spent all that time to effectively do all that. Then after that, I took this really cool picture of me flexing the Arch things that I have done, and I'm gonna do it. Well, I mean, I have run a Jellyfin server, and thankfully Jellyfin can run books. So now I have a way to store PDFs of books that I put before online, right? And that was Wednesday. I even have my own video showing off my ricing, which is not, but the rice. So okay, that was that. Wednesday got cold. Hello World print. And then I was gonna do the Sheldon meme for Halloween because Halloween also happened during this time. Yeah, no, a lot has happened, and truly, I am sorry that I have not done anything sooner than that. But other than that, the only other big thing that I did was also rearch. I installed Arch on the laptop a few days ago, and I've been configuring the rice. But I think that's it for the update. And I think first, everyone is deserving of this video right here, right? Of the month update. And I guess to kind of end the words right here for the month update, right, is um, realistic is a word you should be using in your day to day. What is realistic, right? Because that's what happened to me. I don't know why I'm starting to tear up, but um, realistic is a word you should use because you may want to fly out of this world and do all these amazing things. You can do it, you can, but what you can also needs time. You can't just jump in and expect everything to go with it, right? You're not a straight line. You're not a straight line up. You're either gonna grow either linearly or exponentially. It's one of the two, but you're never gonna just jump, right? It's gonna take time, and I should have done that too. You notice how I haven't mentioned anything about CS besides this is what they use? Yeah, because I have not been paying too much attention to that class. Why? Well, because I haven't. I realistically just haven't, right? I've been wanting to do all these other amazing projects and blah, 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 all of this and that. Put a realistic goal in place. And it's not like to put limitation on yourself. I would still like to become a 10x developer and, work at a FANG and all this other great stuff, right? But also, I have to put realistic goals in front of me right now, right? Like, realistically, I don't know that much of programming. You put a program in front of me, yeah, I could read it. I can never remake it. I can right now. I'm not even confident enough to hop on and like, oh yeah, like, let's code something. God no, dude, I'm scared of looking at that stuff. Am I good with computer? Well, I'd safer. So, but that's why I need to study. I have right here, actually, a bunch of books that could help me study right now. I have a class I need to take that can teach me how to study. I have a book. I have all this stuff right now, right? But it's gonna take me time. Set a realistic goal, right? A realistic goal of you being able to do something, right? So I think that's the takeaway of this. I've tried to do too much in this series, right? And thinking of it now, this should just be like a weekly recap, because that's what it realistically is. It's not to show you the ins and outs of like what I do on a day to day. It should have never been that. It should have just been a realistic day to day, not day in day to day showing, right? Like I think in one of these videos I explained what I wanted to do, how I did it, other stuff, and then there's some days where just there's no content. Like you know, maybe like today I'm filming this because realistically I haven't put anything out. There's nothing for me to do to explain this big gap in time. But today, for the most part, I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I'm like gonna take notes in a little while. But other than that, I was just gonna chill out and do my Spanish homework. But I was just gonna spend here, and that's all I could have done. If I had been up to date, all I would have said was, yeah, today was chilling. I'm not gonna do too much. Finish editing the video, and it would have been week 4. I didn't, because I didn't set a realistic goal of me, right? So I think going forward, it's gonna be a week to week. Hopefully, and I don't do another month one later. I'm like, well, let's be realistic. No, be realistic, and it's just simple day to day. 2 to 3 minute clips. Put them all together in the end of the week. Boom, slap it out there. Got it. But I do want to make other types of content. Why? Well, I mean, content creator is definitely not my choice. Well, it is because content creation is not the top priority in my mind, right? The top priority is for me is to kind of blurt everything out there. And if 2 people see this video, you know what? 2 people saw this video, and we are good. Someone could probably take something out of this. But because I like the stuff that I do. The stuff I want to get into. I really do. I like tinkering with computer science, so I should probably spend more time, studying, right? Um, I like all this. Like, there's so much stuff that I like, but not enough time, ironically. But you know, if someone wants to do something about it, yeah, I know there's a thousand other why you should, you know, join Linux and why you should use Arch and other sort of stuff. That's not my take, right? Will I make a video about it? Oh, absolutely. I'm about to do a whole, like, there you go, another realistic one right off. Okay, I could do like a day in me, right? Because, well, if I'm a weekly type of creator, then I should have some other stuff out there. Actually, I never even showed you. We found this at work, and it's like a Dell bag, right? It's got a Dell bag, but it's like filled. It's filled with pockets and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people who do like uh, engineers. What is it, like EDCs, everyday carry? There you go, like everyday carries. I just started doing stuff like that. Why? Well, it's a smaller piece of content that I can realistically do, and show off a little bit of myself. Besides these, like 2 to 3 minute clips of me just saying, "Well, I did homework and that's it, deuces." No, right? And it's not, and like I said, building up has never been the part. The reason I do all this stuff is kind of me to let a creative output out there, right? Because my biggest crux for me is like physical. I cannot do art to save my life, but I'm great at everything else, right? But other than that, I think this has been Wednesday. I think this has been Sunday. Is it a realistic goal for this week? Like maybe, I don't know, I'll drink water one day. What day? I don't know. Realistically, you have one day to drink water. Or maybe set up a study target. I'll study 2 times a week this week. Like actually study, sit down and do something about it. But that's it. And it's why I'm realistic goal for this one. Edit this video and get it out. All right. It's been Sunday. See you next week.